This is the political history of the Big Boy Republic, a horrendously corrupt nation. The Big Boy Republic was a short-lived island state that was public enemy number one. It was riddled with violence and human rights violations. The nation was only able to remain independent through a large military buildup, which it remained throughout its history. After a violent takeover of Confession Island, an island where many of the later leaders of the Republic were imprisoned, the nation was born. After independence, the victors established the Revolutionary Committee. The group was made up of the 5 main leaders of the rebellion. The members of the Revolutionary Committee then voted for a president. Malcolm de Santos won a landslide vote with all 5 votes. De Santos then picked Guy Canard to be his vice president. From the creation of the Republic on December 20th until January 1st, 2019, the nation was at its most stable point. During this span, the only things of significance to happen were the death of Matthew Cubbs, one of the founders, and the appointment of Pat Rowe as the ambassador to the Welter Republic by President de Santos. Also, to expand their control, 2 new islands were created, Battle Royale Island and Fortnite Island, as well as a renaming of Confession Island to Big Boy Island. The first coup d'etat happened on January 2nd, 2019. Zach Hilter, a prominent member from within the party, seized control of the nation. He assassinated Vice President Canard and ousted President de Santos non-violently. He then declared himself president. The very next day, January 3rd, President Hilter offered the deposed de Santos the title of co-president with him. Hilter wanted more legitimacy. Now de Santos and Hilter were co-presidents, and they offered Guy Canard the vice presidency. On this day, Canard requested to govern Fortnite Island as a semi-independent state. The leaders agreed, and he became governor of the state of Fortnite Island. Also, Matthew Cubbs was appointed chief of army by de Santos and Hilter. January 3rd saw the point in the nation's history when the Revolutionary Committee began to fracture. Co-President Hilter left the Revolutionary Committee to form the Zachist League. This party would become very controversial for its views on totalitarianism and morality. Also, the ruling party of Fortnite Island was the Moderate Party. Canard was in the Revolutionary Committee, but on the moderate right. He was generally opposed to the radicalism that was entering the party, especially Zachism. A second coup d'etat was enacted on January 4th. The Anti-Zachist League took power. The new leadership empowered Shiloh Garner, leader of the Brotherhood, and Peter Bukharin, leader of the Ustase, to co-presidency. Tyrone Bayer, leader of the Partisans, was made vice president. Almost everyone was killed from the old government. Matthew Cubbs, chief of the army, survived though, as he was an anti-Zachist collaborator. On January 5th, there was a third coup d'etat. This was more of a counter-coup though, as it restored the old government. The anti-Zachists were all brutally killed, except Matthew Cubbs. He was just pressured to leave and did so non-violently. The Anti-Zachists had dissolved the flaking Revolutionary Committee. The new government made no attempt to revive it. Instead, there was a surge of Zachism in the nation. The new co-presidents, Zach Hilter and Malcolm DeSantos, as well as Vice President Scott Rent, were all aligned with the Zachist League. Fortnite Island seceded when the Zachists had taken power in the Republic. It was very controversial, but the Big Boy Republic allowed this for the promise that the two nations would be allies. The leader of the new autonomous Republic of Fortnite Island was Guy Kennard, who led from the party center-right. Also at this time, the Republic gained a new island, Disneyland Island. The territory was granted independence as the Republic of Disneyland, another dictatorship led by fascists Pat Rowe and Jackson Kalinske. Together, the nations of Big Boy Republic, Fortnite Island, and Disneyland cooperated in forming the Fortnite Pact, an alliance that was held up until the 13th. January 13th was when the alliance solidified. Fortnite Island and Disneyland were integrated into the Big Boy Republic. The Fortnite Pact was dissolved. To unify the new government, the leaders of the separate nations formed the Second Revolutionary Committee. The committee elected co-president Malcolm DeSantos of the Big Boy Republic to the presidency of the new government, and they elected President Guy Kennard of Fortnite Island to the vice presidency. After the formation of the new government, Vice President Kennard was ousted by the party for counter-revolutionary activities. Also, there was a rebellion led by an ex-Zachist militant, Arno Klingman. These forces were fighting for higher wages in the army. They captured Zach Hilter and held him hostage on Big Boy Island. President DeSantos bought Hilter back by granting the rebels independence. This nation they created only lasted one day as the Big Boy Republic invaded and recaptured it. On the 17th, Zach Hilter, who had splintered off from the Revolutionary Committee to rebuild the Zachist League, declared himself Emperor of the Big Boy Republic. This initially didn't sit well with President DeSantos, but they came to an agreement that they would share power. On the 18th of January 2019, the Republic was obliterated. Pat Rowe, a secret counter-revolutionary within the government, used his power to take control of the nation's missile system and destroy the islands of the Republic with huge devastation. The islands were literally submerged into the sea as the blast completely obliterated them. That was the end of the Big Boy Republic, a nation where violence, power, and momentum dominated politics. This has been the political history of the Big Boy Republic. Zai Zhen.